How are y'all? It feels like it's been forever since I've been able to be here with you guys. So it is exactly. It has been. Thank you. I'm glad to be back. It's good to see you all, and I'm just happy to be here with you. So we're going to talk about a couple of things in risk management this morning. One of them is a post that I put on Facebook this last week that I think caused some panic between many people in the office, which was the seller's disclosure. So how many of you guys were wondering what was really going on with that? Okay. Well, so we're sitting at, I was at a event with Avis last week, and we're sitting at dinner at this little oyster bar. I don't like oysters. I don't know anyone that does. But if you do, nothing wrong with it. I don't like them. So we're sitting there and we're talking about some things that are going on in different areas of the state right now. And one of the things that was going on was a lawsuit in Dallas regarding a seller's disclosure. Let me help you out.
Okay.
You good? Okay. So a lawsuit in the Dallas area regarding the seller's disclosure. So what happened with the seller's disclosure is there was the place on the TAR seller's disclosure, you know, where it talks about if the home is in a floodplain or not? Okay. You know where it also mentions that there's another addendum that can go with that?
Yep.
Okay. 1414, there you go, the addendum for that. Well, the Texas Real Estate Commission only requires that you disclose whether or not it is in a floodplain and does not require you to provide any additional documentation with that. The seller's disclosure through TAR has the ability for you to also include that extra addendum saying, hey, you know, here's the information about the floodplain, here's what we know about it, here's when it floods, here's the last time it flooded, all of that fun stuff. So the whole lawsuit really came about because somebody wanted to what? Get out of a contract that they already signed. It really had nothing to do with the floodplain. And one court said, you know, we don't see any fault with the seller's disclosure because you've done your minimum amount that you needed to do according to the Real Estate Commission, which was what? Disclose that it's in a floodplain. And so they were, the first court was good with that. Well, the person who wanted to get out of the contract decided that they wanted to appeal it.
So they have not purchased that home yet?
They have not purchased that home yet, and it's still pending due to this litigation that's going on. So they appealed the ruling that this one judge found, and now it's in the Circuit of Appeals in Dallas, and there's three judges that now have to vote or have to make their verdict on whether or not they did their job by doing the state minimum, or if this form obligated them to provide additional information. Avis and I are under the belief that because they did what the state required them to do, which was disclose that it was in a floodplain, they did what was correct. However, right now it's looking like the court may say that they didn't do enough because this form has the ability and suggestion that there should be something else that's additionally disclosed, which is that additional addendum, 1414, as Diane mentioned. So that's why we decided, until this has been done, if you've already got something under contract or you've already gotten a seller's disclosure done for something you have on the market, keep it. Just make sure you have those addendums that go along with it. And Mary, Phytech, and PJ, they're going to make sure that you have those things if you have the TAR seller's disclosure. Yet we decided that it would be in our best interest, until we find out what's really going to go on, to just go the TREC form route, which is the state minimum for the amount of disclosure that's necessary, because it really protects us ultimately for now until we find out what's going to happen with this lawsuit. So that's why we did it, ultimately to protect you more. Is there any questions about that? Yeah.
So there was a question on Facebook, and I had the same thing, that if we have the buyer and the listing agent gives us the TAR form, do we need to ask them to also have the seller fill out?
If they've checked one of those boxes, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's more protection for you.
Yeah.
But not on the TREC.
But not on the TREC form, just on the TAR form.
Okay.
So The reason why we liked
They
that,
check that it is
if they check that it is in a floodplain, we need to ask them for the addendum that goes with that. Because if your buyer gets upset, who's the lawyer coming after? Anyone who's involved with the contract. The reason we originally went with the TAR seller's disclosure is because it was more thorough and left us, in our opinion, open or less open to lawsuits. Well, now we're finding now that the possibility of disclosing more information and making it presently clear has the potential now to put us at more of a liability than less of one. Yeah.
I've never looked at the I've looked at the track form.
Yeah.
But I've really never had them. But anyway, because I don't feel they're as thorough.
Yeah.
But if you have had the house inspected, do you know if the track form requires them to supply the previous inspection report, like the TAR?
I believe that state law requires you to do that.
So then that form should say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
That brings up a good point, because I have a buyer that has made an offer on a house from an investor who created a form for the buyers to sign saying they would not furnish any inspection report. And they're using the TAR.
Okay. Can you say that question one more time just so I make sure I'm following it correctly?
The seller has asked, who is an investor,
Okay.
has asked all buyers who submit an offer. He's created an addendum and wants them to sign that they will not ever furnish an inspection report
If they have it inspected.
if they have an inspection.
So the buyer that.
So the buyer will not furnish the inspection report to the seller.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's kind of one of those out of sight, out of mind things for the seller, because he doesn't want to have to disclose any more than what is necessary that he truly does know about the home.
So on the form about the flood, I have not read that form, and is one of the questions, when was the last flood?
Well, I don't remember right now off the top of my head. What?
It just asks if the house has ever flooded,
Mm-hmm.
and it asks if it was in a floodplain. So one of those say, if it is in a floodplain, then you need to provide form number 1414.
What is 14? What the question is 1414. What all does that entail?
Oh, I haven't looked.
Let's just pull it up and look at it together.
If it does, how do they know that?
Let's pull it up and look at it.
You'll have to look at the house isn't, but the property is. Then you probably have to fill out form 1414, because you're gonna answer that it
It's
is.
called Information About Special Flood Hazard. We'll go ahead and pull it up right here.
Yeah.
Information about special flood hazard areas concerning the property at. It really doesn't have anything else for you to. There's nothing else for you to fill out. It just has information about it.
It's notices, it looks like.
It's an additional CYA. Yeah. So it's more information, and this lawsuit is saying that this should have been provided to them. In all actuality, though, it really has nothing to do with a floodplain. It has everything to do with I want out of the contract and I don't want to have to buy this house. And I don't want to lose my earnest money. And in all reality, they're probably going to end up paying more now in legal fees than,
So I wonder about
yeah.
it.
And it'll set another precedent. So one of
Was
the,
the seller trying to enforce specific performance, or did he want to keep the earnest money? What was his reason for not letting the buyer out instead of going through all this?
from what I understand, it was just for specific performance, because they were trying to get out of the contract, and then they had a lawyer got involved and said, okay, well, I think we can get out using this.
So
Yeah.
I guess that we have two parties that have more money than they have systems.
Yeah, probably. More money than sense, exactly. So, I mean,
So would you reiterate which form you want us to use?
Right now, hang on. Right now, we want you to use the Trek seller's disclosure until this is all cleared up. If the judge is up there to decide, hey, you know, you were good and you don't need to worry about having this additional form attached to it, we'll probably say, hey, you know, we're in good shape. Let's go back to the TAR form, because in all actuality, the TAR form does provide a little bit more coverage. Yet this right now is a loophole that could open up lawsuits and things that could get us in
But
more
we'll require
danger.
1414 if we go back.
If we go back to it, we will require Form 1414. If you prefer to use the TAR seller's disclosure right now, you can. Just make sure that everything that you check on there, if there is an addendum that it says can go with it, you attach the addendum on it. One of the other addendums that's on there is like a wildlife environmental form that can go with it. Make sure that you have that attached. And there's like 2 other ones that can go with it as well. Just make sure that you have those things there. I know that not everyone is the most thorough when it comes to this kind of stuff in the world, so that's why it's easier to just say, hey, you know, go to the Trek form for now until we find out what's going to happen. Make sense?
That's in dot loop?
Yeah.
Trek is already in dot loop?
It's in dot loop. Right now, when you go to get the Trek form, we've gone ahead and put it inside of the seller listing documents. And we just moved the TAR form into the Texas Association of Realtors documents, because most people just choose the one that are already in the templates for sellers. Does that make sense? All right. Any other questions about any of this? Anything else that's going on that you want to talk about? Yeah, Angie.
Add a handicap sitting area.
Funny you mentioned it. Last week while I was gone, the ADA came by and did their inspection, and we passed. So, yeah. Yeah. So you guys are putting it to the test this week.
It's completely unnecessary.
Here for the attention. Got it. Okay. Good. I like it. All right. Other than that, is there anything going on in transactions you have questions about, or? Yeah.
It's probably a dumb question, but
There's no such thing.
so I'm representing the buyer and I got this ABOR disclosure, which I've never,
The ABOR disclosure is very similar to the TAR disclosure.
okay. And so it's only partially filled out.
Oh, awesome.
Complete. So I still put on the contract that I need to have it within 3 days. And the agent said, well, I sent it to you. And I said, well,
If they didn't answer every single question on there, then yes, fill it out that it needs to be given to you.
okay.
And what I would do is probably highlight the places that haven't been done and send it back. Pretend you're a school teacher, highlight the places that they didn't finish and say, hey, you know, here's what you might have missed. Just don't put a grade at the top. They won't, they won't like that. Yeah.
I have a little stamp, the initial here, and just put it there for them to.
The initial here stamp? Yeah.
Yep,
Or, you know, those...
Just everywhere that they missed, so we didn't.
yep.
I don't know if the stamp would be small enough for all those little boxes.
And then if they don't do it after you've told them 2 or 3 times, what do you do?
If they don't fill out the form completely after they've done it, I think that you could probably make the case that it wasn't truly delivered because it wasn't finished, and there were certain things on that haven't been done, and you'd probably be in a position that this whole process is in right now in Dallas, where you could go and hire an attorney to argue that you never actually received the disclosure because it wasn't a complete one, and that those 3 questions that weren't answered on there didn't give you the information you needed to make an informed decision about your home. So I would say that you could go ahead and make an attempt to do that. Now, the agent on the other side of the transaction, barring the experience that they have, may try to prevent you from doing that. Yet I think that you would have the ability to make that argument, saying, you know, I didn't get it finished, and per paragraph blank of the contract, I'm blanking out on the number of it right now, but per that paragraph, it has not been delivered, and we're going to exercise our right to back out of the contract.
Could we call the broker and say,
Well, you should call the broker.
Yeah.
To get to that point.
Yeah, if you get to that,
They have to fight it out.
yeah, absolutely.
I just tell them our compliance department rejected it, And if they say they're not gonna complete it, well, then they'll have to contact your broker. So this isn't about us, it's about the
Yeah,
broker and compliance.
yeah, absolutely.
Instead of making it a big
Yeah,
old.
I want to make sure that I'm protected, and you know what? By me being protected, it makes sure that you're protected too. Yeah.
Since we're talking about legality, I have a listing that's previously listed.
'Kay.
And it's one of those situations where the husband does most of like the paperwork stuff, versus the wife. And, you know, they both have to sign the seller's disclosure. And she said, oh, my old agent told me only one of us has to sign it. Only one of us has to sign.
Okay.
Is
There-
one on the title?
Yes, there is no-
Yeah. How many people are on the title?
Both.
Their other agent's wrong.
Yeah. Well,
Just say my broker requires, that's all you have to do.
Yeah.
for every single
Put-
thing too. Another thing that she
Put it on us. I mean, make us the bad guy in that case. I don't care. If they want to call me and ask me about it, I'll tell them, yeah, that's our policy.
Mary Fontek did say the T-47, that just one had to sign.
That is fine. Yes.
would.
Now,
I'd rather them just sign everything together.
exactly.
Because
It's better to have them sign everything. Now, let me ask you this. How many signatures are required to list a home?
one.
Yeah, it's just one signature. Now, you better have both parties in agreement at closing.
Always.
otherwise, it's going to be a bad closing. Exactly.
So what happens if you get to closing and the wife says, I'm not signing? I would make both of them sign.
I mean,
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
is it just one?
Well, you need
What
both
if you had two
signatures to accept
non-married
the offer.
married people that own it?
If you have two non-married people that own it, as long as they're in agreement with one another. I mean, this is why we have to ask the right questions. Like, are both of the decision makers going to be present? But the law says that we only have to have one signature in order to list it.
Wow. That's
Now, don't do that. If you have two people there, get both signatures.
Yeah, always.
Which, going back to your case right there, if
And it's really not that she's indifferent or
Yeah.
undecisive, but it's just that she's kind of offhand. But later on, if she decides to be more decisive, I feel like it might be an issue.
yeah, and if you need to pull up the tax record and say, hey, you know, I need to get every person's signature who is on the tax record right here, so that we make sure that everyone's in agreement with selling the property. Because we've had a case in our office before where there were, and the reason, okay, I'll go back to why it only requires one signature right now. So let's say that this has happened, and let's say that one spouse is not in prison and the other spouse is in prison, and spouse one, who is free, wants to sell the property, and spouse two, who is not free, is okay with it, and you can't get that signature because they're in a prison in Alaska, and you would need to get a notary to go and take care of it up in Alaska.
Or you can do a power of attorney.
Or a power of
That's what I've
attorney,
done.
exactly. You could do that.
And they have a
That's-
notary in prison.
They
But-
do, yes.
Okay, here's another example.
Yeah.
What if you have a married couple and the wife signs to list because she's thinking about getting out of this situation without the knowledge of the husband?
Dear Lord in heaven. Well,
Mess.
you guys, you don't know what you're getting into, or you do, and yeah.
But the other problem is sometimes they're not on title, but they could have rights to the property
right.
because
Yeah.
they're unmarried,
Living.
lived there for 10
Or-
years or something,
or they
a non-purchasing spouse.
correct, or somebody passed away and the property was left to them and the tax record hasn't taken care of it yet, in which case you need the supporting documentation that says that they have the rights to sell the property.
And a copy of the death certificate.
Correct. I mean, there's a whole, you're opening up a whole lot of extra stuff there.
That's why you send everything to title and have an open title. And
Yeah,
see what you
same
can get.
same thing with if you have a power of attorney and they've told you I'm going to use my power of attorney because I need to purchase a house or I need to sell a house. Take that power of attorney before you even do anything with it. Go to the title company and say, is this going to be acceptable to you? Because if it's not, they're going to be able to tell you, hey, you know, we have a power of attorney that we've drawn up that you can go ahead and get signed, and it's going to be good to go because we know it'll work. It's our power of attorney. So utilize your title companies in that way, because they're going to be able to point you in the right direction and give you the documentation that you need, so that you don't have to have weird conversations at the end. Going back to your case though, if the wife says, I want to list the house because I'm getting rid of my husband,
Oh, they wouldn't tell you that.
No,
Some
Oh,
would.
yeah, they will.
well,
some will, some
Question.
won't.
if you, some will, and if they do, great. If they don't, there's nothing you can do about that. I mean,
Somebody's gonna have to sign at closing.
yeah, is he going to be willing to sign at closing?
But the rubber kind of meets the road when you have an offer.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, you can list whatever you want to list,
Exactly. When you have an offer,
then they gotta get.
both
back.
signatures.
Yeah.
Exactly. Both signatures, or let's say you look on the tax record and there's 8 people that have the ability to sell that house. How many signatures do you need on that paper? All of them.
Only 8.
Exactly. Only 8. Exactly.
Okay, so
Yeah, Kim.
remember on this subject that she was asking about, we were talking about seller's disclosure, and you said we will require they both sign the seller's disclosure, but we won't require that they both sign the listing agreement? That doesn't make sense to me.
Here's the reason why. Because of what Pat just said. The rubber meets the road at the time the offer is accepted. Or the offer is being done.
So both have to
And
sign.
both have to sign the contract. And so because all those people are signing that contract, they're now obligated to also sign the seller's disclosure, because the seller's disclosure is a part of the contract.
Gotcha, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Sue, you had something?
It's kinda off topic, but
That's okay.
said let the title company handle it. I mean, I got the commitment on this one and I'm reading the stuff and it doesn't make sense to me because it's a divorce situation and it says that, it'll be basically in the woman's name and all the proceeds go to her, but it's in his name. Like, and so I called the title and she goes, oh, don't worry about it.
Is there a decree?
They have it and it says pursuant to the degree, the subject property was awarded to Christie.
Yeah. So in that, as long as you have a copy of the decree that says that, and
It doesn't matter whose name is actually on the.
it doesn't,
You'll
bec-
have to sign a, what is it called? I forget.
there's a
Release or something.
Quick claim.
quit claim deed, yes.
Okay.
Have to sign a,
It's like
yeah.
The title company,
The title company will be okay with that, because a judge has signed off on the decree granting it to one particular party. And that will be okay. Now, that's only going to be okay if that decree has been done and it's been signed off on and it's been notarized
And file.
and filed.
Yeah, and the title company will make sure
Exactly.
it's their risk.
Correct. Exactly. Yes, Cesar.
Question was, is that only a Texas divorce decree, or is it from any other state that may be acceptable with the title that you know? If they got divorced in Texas or anywhere, it doesn't matter.
You're asking me questions that I can answer. You'd need to seek the advice of an attorney.
The title company will figure it out.
Yeah, the title company will figure it out. If you come and you have a decree from the state of California, and you happen to own 6 properties here in Texas, but your primary residence is in California, and that's where your divorce took place, depending on who you are, I'm sorry, because California is not a state where
They don't play nice.
they don't play nice, exactly. Here in the state of Texas, a lot of people assume that is a 50-50 state when it comes to a divorce. California may be one of those, but it is not that way here in Texas. My father-in-law found that out. And yeah, so the title company would need to be the one that makes
Just
the
like
ultimate
trust.
determining
If
factor.
they have a trust, you need to give the trust to the title company up front,
Yeah,
because they may not have, you've gotta make sure the person authorized to sign the trust can sign.
yeah. The people who have the most liability in the transaction are going to need to make sure that it's good to go. Same thing with the bank. I mean, why is a survey so important? If the bank doesn't approve the survey, are they going to fund on the house? No, they're not, because they have the most liability at stake. Why? Because they got all the money.
Well, they own the house.
Yeah, exactly. They own the property. We may have the rights to the property in the tax record. We also have the rights to pay off the debt so that we can have the house free and clear. So, all right.
A lender tell me that if they get, even if they do a quick claim deed and the divorce grants one spouse the ownership of the home, if the other spouse is still on the note, they're still liable for payments.
Mm-hmm.
They have to
Absolutely.
make sure they get taken off the note as
Absolutely. And that happens a lot. Well, I didn't realize my credit score was so bad. Well, you got divorced, and did you take your name off of the mortgage?
The
No.
lenders- The lenders won't take their name off the mortgage, they have to refinance it.
They have to refinance it.
Yeah.
Exactly. The lawyer or banks don't care if you get divorced. All they care is that they're getting paid.
I have a question. You and I started this discussion, but I want to bring it up.
Yeah.
If you're doing, representing a buyer who is going to become your seller then, and you're going to rebate, I'm still trying to get clear on what's the proper way to do that.
So, well, I mean, there's the question is if you're going to be doing like a move-up program.
But it can also, some of us do move downs because people who are downsizing, so we have to be, and that doesn't say move up on the document.
Correct. It doesn't. You're right. It doesn't. But essentially, think of it as a move up. What's the best way to do it to ensure that you get paid for the full commission amount that you should be getting? Well, the best way to do it in our practice, and I haven't read your email yet because I just got it this morning, but the way that we would encourage you to do it is there's a form that we have called, it's not called the move up agreement, it's called something else, where you put in the amount that you're going to be giving them back. And you don't do it on the first transaction, you actually give them that amount back at the close of the second transaction. So let's say that you're going to give them back 1% on the close of the first house. They wouldn't actually get it until the second one closes. Why would we do that? To guarantee that they don't just try to get you to reduce your commission and then say, hey, by the way, we decided we don't want to buy a house.
Yeah.
So the agreement says, I think it does say within 30 days. I think there's another one though that we have that may be in there somewhere under office documents.
That's where I got that one, but when I saw that, I looked it up, and it said that money will be paid you in 30 days, and my question this morning was, well, why doesn't it just happen at closing on the settlement statement? So can we put it in special provisions on the listing agreement?
Yeah, you could, but I'd want to look at it before you did it to make sure that you're protecting yourself. The whole idea is that you guarantee that you're going to get paid on your first one so that they can't just back out and not buy a second property. And it has an amount of days in which that needs to happen in there. I think it's supposed to be 90 days, so there might be another form in there that we need to look at.
Okay, maybe I didn't find it.
Yeah.
And would you let us know what that is?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll go back and look at it again this afternoon. So, any other questions on that?
How many people do that program versus just under regular commission on both transactions?
So how many of you guys do move-ups? How many of you guys have never, or don't do them, or have rarely ever done them? I hadn't done it either. Right, wrong, or indifferent.
I just wondered if
Yeah.
that was a trend now.
Yeah.
But it depends on your trust level. If you've got a good relationship, you can just, if not, you've got to hold it.
So we haven't started. I mean, we'll start the team meeting here in a minute. We're running a little late, but I'm good with it because I like the discussion that we're having. One of the things that I learned last week at a class that I went to was how do you combat the people wanting you to reduce your commission amount when you're sitting at the table. And one of the scripts that I learned about it that I really liked was, I can't do that. Or, you want me to reduce my commission? No. The reason why, and then you go into this, I would put my integrity at risk if I did that. And what I mean by that is this. If I give you one amount, and then I give someone else a different amount, and you guys are at a party talking one day, because I didn't know you were friends, or you didn't know, and you really enjoyed my service and were happy with what you got, and you have that conversation of, well, you know, Scott charged me 6%, and they're like, oh, really? He only charged me 5%. How do I look when that happens? My integrity is extremely important to me. I don't do different things for different people. And the reason why is because I want to make sure you're getting the highest level of service all the time. Yeah.
The way I explain it is, if I would give away my money, which I care about,
Yeah.
how much freer am I going to be with yours?
Correct. And and you can go right into that from, and I don't want to ever put my integrity at stake. So this is why I charge what I charge. all the time. And if I ever decide to charge something different, I promise you, you'll be the first to know, and I'll do the exact same thing for everyone else.
So Scott,
Yeah.
I had somebody tell me that. So if I buy, you'll get my 3% when I buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I list my house, I want you to only charge me 1%. If you don't take it, I'll go to Redfin. How do you take that? How do you answer that?
Now, let me ask you this.
Best word in the
Will they really? Or are they just asking for the sake of
No.
seeing if you'll say yes?
She said her neighbor, sold the house that way,
Mhm.
and it sold like before it even went to MLS.
Okay.
So she thinks she can do the same thing.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit about the market in the team meeting, and I think it may help answer that question. So if it's okay with you guys, can we go straight into the team meeting? Yeah, one last question, then we'll go straight into it.
Explain Redfin now or later.
I think we're all trying to figure out what Redfin is. I think Redfin's trying to figure that out too, but yes, we'll talk a little bit about it too. Just remind me when we start talking about market numbers. All right, let's hop right on into our team meeting. We'll get the TV going here. Thank you for the discussion this morning. This was awesome. Wait, nope. Donna, be nice. Hey, your shoulder's right there with him.
That's why I said we're in purple section, we're all right here. That's what they just told me.
All right, y'all ready?
Ready.
Okay, so we're going to have our redneck inspirational moment. It's like 38 seconds long. I saw it on Facebook the other day, and the guy talks really funny, and he makes a really good point. So let's hear what I can't remember his name is. It's got some crazy name too.
This ladder stayed outside. Right off the bat, this ladder looks better than this ladder. That's how we view people. We don't take into consideration that this poor bastard stayed outside all night in the cold and the rain and all the other shit. And sometimes all you need in life is a little bit of help. So y'all don't be too quick to judge. We all go through shit. Be there for somebody sometimes. They may need you, and by God, you may need them. Y'all be cool, stay classy. I love you.
I think it's worth watching a second time because we missed the beginning of it.
This ladder stayed in the house yesterday. This ladder stayed outside. Right off the bat, this ladder looks better than this ladder. That's how we view people. We don't take into consideration that this poor bastard stayed outside all night in the cold and the rain and all the other shit. And sometimes all you need in life is a little bit of help. So y'all don't be too quick to judge. We all go through shit. Be there for somebody sometimes. They may need you, and by God, you may need them. Y'all be cool, stay classy. I love you.
All right, so I don't know what that noise at the end was, but it made me laugh, and he had a good point. We don't know what other people are going through, and sometimes they just need a little bit of help. Which is, how many of you guys have ever had sellers that just need a little bit of help? All right, well, this next video is not going to help you at all, but it's going to summarize kind of how we feel sometimes when people ask us to do things that, I don't know, we may not be comfortable with. Well, I thought it would work.
Is this Prezi, Scott?
Yes. There we go.
Hello, I want to sell my house and understand you are a realtor.
I am. And I'd love to help you.
I want to know what you will do to get my home sold fast and put a ton of money in my pocket as quick as possible.
All right. Let's start with this. Do you know how much you owe?
I owe $300,000, and it is the nicest house on the whole planet.
Homes in that area, like yours, are selling for around $200,000. I don't know if now is the right time for you to sell.
I need to know if you will hold an open house for me every weekend.
As I said, I do not think you have the equity to sell your home now.
It is the nicest house on the planet. It is on a cul-de-sac lot. What kind of marketing will you do to sell my home?
I'm sorry, but did you hear me? There is not enough equity in your house to sell right now.
I want you to sell it for a low commission and want you to make little or nothing when it sells. I would also like you to call me every day with an update on what you are doing to sell my house. It has maple cabinets and a kitchen island.
Are you friggin' kidding me?
No, I'm not. I also want color flyers in the box by the sign at all times. I want them to showcase the countertops and hardwood floors. You know we paid extra from the builder for thought, right?
What part of you can't sell your house did you not hear? None of that makes a bit of difference. Not only did you get bad financing with an adjustable interest rate, but then you went out and took money out on your house to buy a new car and take several vacations. But you now want me to try to get you out of this backward, upside down situation and work for free while doing it?
Will you have a website for the property?
Really, really?
I also expect you to take my calls at or after 10 p.m. at night. I also want to yell at you on Sundays or when you are with your family if my house is not selling.
I would love to stick a lockbox up here.
Oh, that reminds me. I don't want a lockbox on my door. I expect you to be there for all showings along with the other realtor and his buyer.
You've lost your mind.
Can you tell me what the average days on market are right now?
It really makes no difference. What's your average days on stupid? To think after all of the really messed up financial decisions you have made that you can expect to do anything with this house, and the fact that you want someone like me who works my ass off to work for free makes me want to run you over with my car and then go to your house and pull out all of your landscaping and stick it in your living room. Then call your boss and let him know that he can call you about your job on Sundays and holidays. And anytime he pleases, and bug the heck out of you while telling you he's paying you too much and asking you to work for half your paycheck. How does that sound, you idiot?
Are you saying you won't work for a lesser commission?
No. I'm saying I'd rather lay tar, shovel a ton of rock and work in the hot sun than help you sell your house. As a matter of fact, I'm sure that working for you would most likely put me in jail for 5 to 10 years.
Please make a note that I only want cash buyers or someone with 20% down to look at my house.
No one is going to look at your house, you twit. Why, oh, you haven't heard one thing I've said, and you are the biggest ignorant fool I've ever talked to.
But I have maple cabinets. I think that you just want me to lower my selling price so that you don't have to work.
You're serious? Go find someone else to put up with this garbage.
Oh, that reminds me. Maybe you can have a broker's open and buy all the agents lunch. If you show them my house, they'll want their buyers to see it.
No. Heck no. Go find yourself another agent.
That is fine. My friend's cousin's dad's girlfriend's daughter's uncle's high school friend's baby's mama is a realtor too. Maybe she will work for free and take the listing on my house. Do you know a good mortgage broker? I'd like to start looking at new homes way too early and find out where interest rates are.
I found it on YouTube. And there, if you go online and type in funny realtor cartoons, those people have done a ton of them. Most of them I could not play. That was the cleanest one. So, anyone ever work with anyone like that? What was the experience like? Yeah, well, you're not in prison, so you didn't land in jail for 5 to 10 years. And
Charges are pending.
Charges are pending. Okay, good. Good to know. What'd you do, Russ?
Long
Yeah. So going back to the commission amount and things like what Redfin is doing, Redfin has a ton of data, and they could be a threat. They're not, though. Why are they not a threat? They have virtually no market share. In the Austin MLS, they have less than 1% market share. As a matter of fact, when you pull up all of the companies that have market share in our area, they don't even make the top 15. Why do you think that is?
They don't have fiduciary.
They don't have relationships.
They don't have a relationship. They're not a fiduciary. And what's that?
They're not full service.
They're not. And on top of it, do you know how much volume an agent who works for Redfin as a listing agent would have to do in order to make $80,000 a year? $13 million in volume.
Wow.
They pay them a base salary of, I believe it's $36,000 a year, and then they get bonuses on top of that. And in order to hit $80,000 a year in income, they would have to do $13 million in sales. What's $13 million in sales times 3%? What is it? $390,000. Why does Redfin not have market share? Nobody wants to work for them. Nobody wants to work their ass off like this little video right here talked about for no money. People got into real estate. Why? To give themselves the opportunity to own their own business and to make a nice living. Are you going to be able to have a nice living if you're selling $13 million a year, working tons and tons of hours and only making $80,000? No. It's not worth the money, it's not worth the time, and it's not worth dealing with people who their sole reason for wanting to work with you is what? You're not going to charge them hardly anything to do your job.
Do they actually have agents that go and do listings, or is it all online?
They do have agents that go and do listings, yes. And those.
That's the main one.
What's that?
Yvette Evans is the main one.
Yeah, there you go.
And she's an hourly?
Salary, and then bonuses on top of it. Yeah. All right.
And a lot of them are new agents. Like they bought me a backup contract and we accepted it, and they had a $500 option fee.
On a backup?
On a backup.
Man.
In Berry Creek, and so we got.
3. Just kidding.
They never reached first place.
They never reached first place, but what they probably didn't realize about their option is that goes away.
They asked for it back. I told them I'd talk to the seller, and then I went to the seller and said I wouldn't do it, but I told them I'd talk to you.
Yeah. Perfect.
Listing Spark basically the same thing.
Listing Spark is the same thing with an even lower level of service.
What is that?
Listing Spark.
Listing Spark's an a la carte company, so you
Yes.
pay for service per day.
Correct. And I'm not here to bash companies, yet I do believe that Listing Spark does not live up to the things that the information about brokerage services says that you have to live up to. And that's something that the Real Estate Commission is looking into currently.
Is
So.
1% still around?
Was it a company called 1%? Not that I know of.
I know there's that Rex too that I've been hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of companies out there that are doing it. And guess what? We're seeing the market change a little bit right now. Would you agree that the market's changing a little bit? Okay. Those companies are going to disappear as soon as pricing becomes an issue. Because it's not all about just cutting your commission. We do real work. And the issue that we've created for ourselves over the past few years, well, really the market's created for us, is you just throw us on the yard and you're going to get multiple offers. Guess what? It's time to start working again. We have to get really, really good at pricing. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Kristen, what do you got for us today?
Oh, me already.
Okay, let me
It is.
unmute this because I didn't want the people that are watching to go, what did she say? Okay. So first I'm going to kind of give you all a laugh. So I went to ACL this weekend. If you follow me on Facebook, you probably
can
saw a
see you
couple
got
of
a tattoo.
posts. And I was driving this morning to work, and I did this thing, and I forgot I have a fake tattoo on. And I wore my cold shoulder shirt. So anyways, it's not real. And maybe I'm kind of getting used to it, so it makes me feel pretty tough. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Okay.
We'll get you a KW Georgetown.
Right, there you go. I don't know. Okay, so are we doing, or just go?
Just go.
Okay,
Yeah.
So a couple of things. We started Ignite yesterday. I see a couple of people that were in the class, so thank you all for being there. I think it was a really great way to kick it off. It is a 4-week course. It's 3 days a week. There is work to do every single day of the 4 weeks in terms of business days. and it's going to help you boost your business. So is there anybody that intended to be in Ignite that wasn't there yesterday? Anybody that needs to be in Ignite to boost their business that should be there on Wednesday? Okay. This is a great way to answer a lot of the questions that I know a lot of leadership and ALC is getting. So if you have questions, want to know how to start your business, this is the foundational tool to do that. So I'd hope that you would invest in yourself and come to class, and I trust that it'll be valuable for you. So there's that. We have session 2, which the lovely Erica will be facilitating on Wednesday, and then Friday is Julie Jones. She will be facilitating the class there. We also have today, we have Master CGI, which Lauren will be running for us, and that's your career growth initiative, or GROSS, as John Davis would like to say. And so the wonderful thing about that is it helps you to set your goals, and it has a ton of tools. So this one's going to be a foundational class. What is it? How do I use it? How do I review it weekly? Because we should know our numbers. And so Lauren will be training you on how to do that. We also have Master Your Compliance at 2 o'clock, and that you need to be at, period. Just show up. Yes, it's going to be foundational. We're going to build every time we have this class. How do I submit my loops? What should they look like? When do I submit them? And then I can answer any questions you have. And then lastly, master the do not call list. So if you are making calls, you also need to be at this class. You have to file for a number that is tied to you specifically. And this class is just a walkthrough on how to do it. It's not going to be a ton of instruction. You're going to bring your computers. You're going to sit and we're going to just fill it out. 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock today. So we have CGI at 1 o'clock, compliance at 2 o'clock, and do not call at 3 o'clock. So I hope to see you all there.
Do not call me after 3 o'clock either. No,
yeah, there's that. We have leasing on Thursday. Who does leasing in this room? Okay. How many of you who just raised your hand? So nobody else does leasing other than people that raise their hand? I know there's more than that. I'm not going to look at anybody. I'll pull an Avis. I'm just saying, how many people have not taken a leasing class in the last 2 years? Okay. How many people know that in the policies and guidelines book that you sign says you'll take a leasing class every 2 years? All right, great. You have an opportunity. Thursday at 8 o'clock. Greg Deering will be here. It's 8 to 3. I'm sorry, 8:30. Show up at 8, get a good seat. And he'll be teaching. It is a CE course.
6 hours.
6 hours. So please show up to that. It is part of your due diligence for compliance for this office, okay? Let us know, and if you have a last minute something doesn't get scheduled, just show up.
$7 if you need continuing education credit. If you don't need continuing education credit, it's nothing.
8:30 to 3.
Yeah. Go on your track thing, and then we can verify that you have taken it within every 2 years.
Yes.
There you go.
Hours of credit for $7?
Yes, 6 hours of. It's 8:30 to 3, I believe.
What day is it?
This Thursday. It is on the calendar. And just to remind you, everything that I'm talking about is on connectkw.com under the training calendar. You can also see it when you log in to KW Connect and you go to your calendar. All of our stuff is in there. So you can actually see it on KW Connect as well.
Or if you pull out your phone and say, hey, Kelly, what's on the what's going on in my Market Center? It'll pull up a link that you can click on. It'll show you everything that's available in the Market Center for the week.
Also GeorgetownTraining.com.
Yes, there you go.
We put it so many places.
Rising Stars is at 9:30 Monday mornings. So if you want to attend, Scott leads at 9:30 Monday morning. Business Planning Clinic is next Tuesday from 8 a.m. to 4. Is it 8 to 4? I think it's 8 to 4.
Yeah. 8.
Maybe it's 9 to 5. Okay. I put everything on my calendar earlier, so they're on time. Huh?
So you're going to say come at 8 for a good seat?
Yeah, come at 8 for a good seat. That's right. And so we will not have ALC meeting. This is in lieu of that. I hope that you will all be attending. This is the 4th quarter of the year, which means what you do today ends up coming back to you in 90 days. And that's end of December, y'all. So you should be planning for 2019 so you can have an awesome January and February. Be that agent, right? Let's see, what else do I have? Friday the 19th. We have a 10 to 11 a.m. lab from Keller Williams International. Can you tell them what that's
It's
going
actually
to
going
be?
to be 10 to noon, and
Okay.
it'll be right here in the training room. And we have somebody from Keller Williams International who's going to be coming to lead an agent lab here in the Market Center. So you're going to have an opportunity to talk about some of the things you'd like to see done. They're going to give you some access to different features that are available right now and ask for your input on if you were designing this right now, what would you change to make it different, or what would you do to make it better? And that's going to be done right here in the Market Center. It's awesome that we're so close to Austin because we can actually get them to come here to do that. It's going to be on the 19th, which is next Friday, from 10 to noon. And then Ignite will happen right after that.
Really great opportunity.
Yeah.
October 25th, Round Rock, Keller Williams Round Rock is having a casino night to benefit their Care, Cause, and Relief Fund. There is an agent that we are supporting there, and through KW Cares, to receive a grant from KW Cares, we have to pay 20% as a Market Center. So if someone here needed something from KW Cares, we'd have to pay 20% of whatever is necessary. Yeah. And so we're having an event to support that cause there at Round Rock that I will be at. I hope to see you all there. I think the tickets are $50. So it's going to be a great night. And then 2 more things. Board involvement. I would love to see y'all get out there and get involved in your boards, whether it's Austin Board of Realtors, Williamson County Association of Realtors. Get out there and get involved. There's a lot of opportunity, 1, for you to give back community-wise. 2, to build relationships. So when you're in the middle of negotiating a deal, having a relationship, and I'm sure some of you can vouch for that, having a relationship with the person that you're working with on the other side makes communication better. And lastly, it also helps you career-wise if you're looking at doing things like Platinum Top 50. Do we have Platinum Top 50 agents in the room? Yes. Raise your hand. Got 1. We have any more? Okay, we need more of y'all out there. It's a really great opportunity. There's also opportunities at Austin Board of Realtors and Williamson County Association of Realtors.
And Temple Belton and Fort Hood.
And Temple Belton and Fort Hood Killeen, any of them, they'll do awards. And it's a really great way for you to be recognized. It's really great for advertisement in future. You can put it on your emails. It's just really a great way for you to connect. So definitely get out there and get involved. And speaking of, yes.
Speaking of, Waycor is doing a toy drive. It's going to benefit the Fort Hood families that are on the lower end of the income spectrum. So there will be information coming out about that. You'll see me in an elf outfit pretty soon. So hopefully, if you want to go out and do a neighborhood and get flyers, those will be coming out this week. So we really hope that you'll get involved. And if you want to do that as an office, raise toys or money for this foundation. It's called Celebration of Love. They take the toys and they go out there. If you want to help volunteer and sort toys, I'll let you know more about that as we get a little closer.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, it's worth just to plug them. I watched them work. I was a first sergeant and sergeant major employee, and they do amazing work. And other organizations like them with toys, meals, all kinds of things. As a family member, you'll recognize too.
Yeah.
For those people that would have had a pretty barren Christmas otherwise.
Yeah,
so thank you.
Awesome. Thank
and
you.
that's just one of the many ways that you can get involved. And if you have a passion, if you are more on the education side or event side or community service side, whichever your skill set would best fit, there's opportunities for you at any association that you're involved with. Next Thursday is October 18th. At 9 a.m., Williamson County Association of Realtors is having their annual board meeting. Avis has asked for us to announce it so that whoever is a member there, you have to be a primary member to vote, attend that meeting. There will be some bylaws changes, and so she would like everyone to kind of show up and have a conversation about that. Did you want to talk more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd get on my soapbox, but I'm tall enough so y'all can see me. I believe that we have an obligation to take a stand for certain things. One of the things that the Williamson County Association of Realtors is currently proposing in their new bylaws rendition is that the members have no say, and that it is all voted and to be done by the board of the Association of Realtors. And yes, exactly, which is why it's so important for us to be there on October 18th to make sure that we get to have a say. Does anyone know why Zillow ever got to the place where it is today? Because the boards of realtors gave away all of the data, which then allowed the Zillow group to form and do what? Sell you your customers back.
Yeah.
This is not quite that same issue, yet if we put all of the power into the group of a small, tiny minority who never really gets to have the obligation to go back to the membership, we lose all of the power to be able to do that. So we need to be there on the 18th. If you're a member of the Williamson County Association of Realtors, you need to be there that day to say, look, we are not okay with this. Because there have been some things that they've done in the past. I could say this, she can't, she's on the board, that have been done incorrectly, and they weren't held accountable then. And we need to make sure that we have the right to be able to hold them accountable when things aren't done correctly. So make sure that you're there for that, to say we do not support changing the bylaws because we want to have a say.
And then the other part of that too is, and why we talk about involvement, is that if you have a passion for it or you want to have a say, the board in some places does speak for the membership. And so if you want to ensure change, you have to step up and get involved. It's hard to stand on the sidelines and say, we don't want to do this, and never have spoken up before. So this is one opportunity to see how this works. It's politics, and this is how this works. So show up and cast a vote. And secondly, get involved. If you really feel passionate about it, get involved. So we will be also voting on the next slate of board members. We have Michelle from Round Rock is moving up into a secretary position, and I'm moving into president-elect, so which would make me president in 2020. So like I said, you know, we have to have a voice, and so to do that, you have to get involved. And is it messy? Sure, it's messy because everyone is passionate about what we believe. So,
and because you're president, do you believe that every person in this room should have a say?
Absolutely, 100%.
Perfect. There you go. You know where Kristen stands, and she can say it out loud.
Walk into that one. Okay, yes. Sure. It's at 9 a.m. It should last until about lunchtime, 12 o'clock.
Yep.
It's Thursday the 18th. And if you are a primary member, you can attend and vote. Even if you're not a member, still attend. It's a good opportunity for you to experience what it's like to be involved. And then go out, because there's other stuff that goes on at every single board out there, which I'm sure some of you have experienced or been on boards before. And so again, if you choose to stay quiet, just like voting, you know, anything that you're going to do, just go out there and cast whatever your vote is going to be, because that's how we make change. So lastly, AutoConnect. Raise your hand if you are currently sending people information through the AutoConnect system. Who's a part of that? So 1, 2. No.
Different. Sorry.
AutoConnect. If you know what it is. Okay, I've got how many? Raise your hands high. Who's doing AutoConnect? We have a couple of people.
You're in it. The
Virginia.
newsletters that we're sending out on your behalf.
Oh, that one.
Yes. Okay. Judy is. Okay. We've got a couple of people. Okay. So the good news is, if you don't know what it is, you know because you're paying for it. So you would know. The thing about AutoConnect is that it is an automatic system that helps you to nurture your database on a consistent basis. It's our goal in the Market Center to get every single person who is doing business to touch their entire database 40 times a year, which will help you increase your business. Who wants increased business? Okay, if you don't have your hands up, then you're paying a lot to not.
Come to my master CGI.
That as well, yes. We're going to talk more about AutoConnect. So I will tell a story real quick about it. I was at a career fair at Champions, and there was another realtor who's actually joined Keller Williams Lake Travis. And she said, hey, is Candy in your office? And I said, yeah, she is. She's like, well, can you tell her that I just got her awesome newsletter? And I had to think for a second. I was like, oh, really? You got it? Because I know that she is on this, what we call AutoConnect. And she said, yeah, it was fantastic. And she was the best realtor ever. I haven't talked to her in a while. And it was so great to receive this from her. And so, you know, this, and I think there was a couple other people who were posting it online. Virginia, have you gotten any feedback yet about anything? So we have a lot of social media stuff going on. I know the postcards just went out. If you want to know more about this, I know that Rachel, who is the consultant on this, Rachel Payton, is going to be releasing information if you want to get into what this is. And it's newsletters, emails, pre-written stuff. So you just give them names, phone numbers, addresses, and it gets sent out on your behalf with your name and all your marketing on it. And so this is being run through Avis and Steve, as both market centers are working really hard to master this topic for you so that you guys can have the touches you need. And so they'll be opening it up in January. You need about 100 at the minimum, preferably 200 people to be in your database. And so our efforts with all the classes that are on the schedule is to get you to that point. So if you're not there yet, don't be discouraged. You probably have names somewhere. It's just a matter of putting them in one spot.
I'm going to email you guys out a list today that's called 150 Ways to Build Your Database. And if you just look at the questions that are on there, you already have 150 people. You probably just don't realize it because you don't know the questions to ask yourself about who those people might be.
Correct.
So we'll email that out to you today.
Yep. All right. That's it for me. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Kristen. Give it up for Kristen.
Yay.
All right. The referral network. Who's using it? Perfect. All right. So this half of the room's using it. No one on this side raised their hand. Okay, good. No one on this side except for Erica. Okay. So right now in the referral network, we as an office have 96 pending inbound referrals. And if we use our average price point of $280,000 here in Georgetown, those 96 pending inbound referrals equate to over $26 million in volume. And if we back that up even further, that equates to $821,000 in gross commission income that is out there for you guys, that is just ready for deals to close because you've taken advantage of the referral network. If you haven't gone on to kwconnect.com and gone onto the referral network tab, do it and add at least one person in every single market center for the entire country. There's 803 market centers in our country right now. Well, I guess that includes Canada as well, and I think you can add people in Canada now too. And when you do that, you're going to start getting notifications when somebody has a referral in your area. They can do a broadcast referral, or they can choose to just send a referral directly to you. Use it. There have been people in this office who have gotten 3 referrals in 2 days, in 48 hours. And they're going to be part of the people who are getting that $821,000 in gross commission income I was just talking about because of the pending deals that are out there right now. Now, what is one thing that you could do to plus how you're being strategic about building your referral network? Targeting areas. How could you do that? Yeah.
So I'm from the East Coast. I've been targeting Maryland and DC. Anywhere that you know that people are migrating here, you might want to do, the tech industry in California, now Austin Silicon Flats.
Silicon, not Silicon Flats. That's a different place. I think Dolly Parton has a place like that. It's a theme park.
No, but just a sidebar, and I don't want to get this off, but on Facebook there is the Kelly 66-Day Challenge.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So you can add the group, and it tells you one thing to do on your Kelly Snaps every day. It's on day 45 right now, but even if you miss a day and you catch it up and you get it on your feed, it really shows you what's new every single day on Kelly, and it's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing that we're lucky enough to have here in Austin is this little thing called the Austin Business Journal. How many of you have heard of it? If you haven't subscribed to it, you may want to consider doing that. The reason why is because the Austin Business Journals talks about all of the different places who are either thinking about it or have committed to bringing their businesses into Austin, or just businesses that are growing in the Austin area, which means that they're going to be looking for talent in different parts of the country, or they have talent in different parts of the country that's going to have to migrate here so that they can keep their businesses running. I don't think the Austin Business Journal is all that expensive to get if you sign up for it online. That would be a really good thing to do, though, because then you can see, okay, I've got people moving here from Torrance, California. There's a company that's going to be coming. It may be a good idea to reach out and connect with agents at one of the market centers in Torrance, California, or if you get lucky enough for Honolulu, Hawaii to move over here for their business, it may not be the luckiest thing for them because it's going to be a little warmer here, but you can then go and network with people in Hawaii to build your referral network in that direction. And there's people that are doing this really successfully. There's somebody in our office right now who has about $14 million in volume pending because of the referral network. So keep growing it and be strategic about it and make sure that you're utilizing that as a system in your business for making sure that you have a consistent amount of income. Any questions about the referral network? All right, perfect. I got a question for you. Where is the best place to sit on a roller coaster? Well, first of all, who likes roller coasters? Okay. How many of you guys think the front is the best place to sit on the roller coaster? All right, why? Why the front? Okay, you can see what's coming. All right. You don't have all the throw up on your face. Okay. That's a really good analogy, actually, and I'm going to use that when we go into it in a second. Okay, how many of you guys said the back place is the best place to sit on the roller coaster? Okay, well, I agree with you. I like sitting in the back because it's the most fun. You get the most momentum when you're going down the hill. It's physics, yes, exactly. So when we're talking about the market as a roller coaster, it'd probably be the best place to sit at the front so you don't get the throw up on you. But think about it like this. Here's the hill for your roller coaster. Here's your little cars. Don't judge me. I wasn't an art major. Who's this?
Where's it going? Which way is it going?
Okay, it's going this way.
Okay.
We're going that way. Who is this?
The leader.
The leader. Okay. What does the leader do? They set the bar. They price appropriately. Who is this? No. So this would represent a market turning down. This would represent what? This would represent perception. This is where buyers and sellers, or this is where sellers think they are. Right here at the top, all the time. Who does this represent?
Behind the curve.
Well, I hate to break it to you, ladies and gentlemen, these are our appraisers. Because they're looking at history. They get the most fun ride coming down. But these people right here are just dangling, watching it, looking, seeing, here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. When am I going to feel it? When am I going to feel it? You've got to be here when it comes to pricing. Who's seeing things that are going on a little bit funky in the market right now? What are you seeing?
Longer days on market.
Longer days on market. Indecision.
Unrealistic seller expectations.
Okay, unrealistic seller expectations. What else?
Price reduction.
Price reductions. All right, well, right now in our office, in the last 2 months, we've taken more listings in those 2 months than we ever have for those 2 months previous. So our inventory is going up. But the sales, they're not going up with the listings. So we're seeing it take longer days on market, and indecision, meaning that buyers are at a place right now where they're still trying to decide, am I willing to pay this?
There's more options for them.
There's some more options for them.
Because of all the new builds.
Well, yeah, there's not only new builds, but now in inventory for existing, that's going up, so there's more options. So now they get to decide, I don't know if that's worth it. I think I want to be somewhere in here. So ideally, when we take interest rates into account for this, ideally the Federal Reserve and our federal government say that interest rates should be in a healthy economy between what? 6 and 7%. Where are we right now? High fours. We're at high fours. So the interest rates are going up steadily. Well, that's causing the affordability to go down a little bit because we know for each 0.5% in increase of the interest rate, the affordability factor goes down how much? It's actually about 11%. About 11%. So when interest rates go up for every 0.5 point, the affordability factor goes down, which means that These people who could afford to buy here when interest rates were 4%, now they can only afford to buy here because interest rates have gone up 0.5%. So they're not going to be able to afford this unless they have what? A lot of cash down to put down in order to get to where they can make it affordable. And these guys over here are still looking at this thinking, okay, well, I'm gonna price it like we're still going up. But really, our market is starting to do, I mean, the summer we went like this, and now we're seeing a little bit of a level. I hope that's level. It might be off a little bit, but we're seeing it level off a little bit, which means that in order for us to sell our listings in a way that we want them to, which is what? Quickly, and get our sellers to what? Do what they needed to do originally, we have to price competitively and we have to price ahead of the market. How far ahead of the market do we need to price? And how do you do that? Well, one of the great ways to do it is to look at the pendings that are currently on the market and see, okay, well, it was priced at this, and you're not going to know exactly what it was what the price that it is under contract for is, but if you figure on 2 to 3% below what that pending amount is and you put it there, do you think you're going to be in a position to have a competitive advantage as opposed to those people who are just looking at only what their current competition is and the things that sold 90 days ago? Are you going to be at a little bit of an advantage? Yes. What happens if you get multiple offers and the price goes up? Who looks good? You do, of course. So over the next 3 months, we are really going to be talking and teaching a lot about shift. My intention is that in every single one of our team meetings from here through the very end of the year, we're going to do a different tactic out of the shift book because we need to be paying attention. Our competitors aren't. One of the heads of one of the largest real estate companies out there, other than Keller Williams, came out the other day and said, we got 5 years of an amazing market still ahead of us. He ain't looking at the data. It's not doom and gloom, and it doesn't have to be. It's all about your mindset around what it is. You just have to change the tactics and the things that you do in order to make sure that you have that advantage, which means that we're going to have to go to work. It's not going to be the days of just throw the sign in the yard and hope for the offers. We're going to actually have those conversations about motivation and about what it's going to take in order to get the home sold. And when I go into some of the tactics in shift, you'll be able to put some of those graphs down right in front of the people that you're working with and say, what do you see going on here in the market? Where do you think you need to be in order to get your home sold? And then you lay down the graph next to it that shows them the prices and confirms the price that you just said that it needed to be at, but they've chosen where on that little map they need to be. So you're taking some of that emotion out of it, and they're just looking at the actual facts of the numbers. Now, could it be that they're in a position like that little guy earlier where they owe $300,000 on their house and their house is really worth $280,000? I'm not going to say $200,000 because we're not there. Yet, could it be that they're $20,000 behind the market? It could be. What would that conversation look like is what we'll talk about over the next several weeks. Does anyone have any questions about that? All right, perfect. All right, so who's got a new listing they want to tell us about? Pat.
This is actually Tom from his bed. You saw the pictures from him earlier. He said he was lead generating, but it was going like, do you know where
I'll pull it. Have you guys? How many of you guys have seen Tom?
No.
All right. Well, you keep talking, Pat. I'm going to pull it up.
Okay. Anyway, 1114 East 7th Street will probably go on the market Saturday at $325. And I forget the configuration of it, but he asked me to let you know that. Basically, they have found out nothing about his condition. I'm thinking that he kissed that big fish too often. That he caught in Lake Michigan.
What was the address again, Pat?
He's thinking he's coming home this afternoon. In the hospital?
Yeah.
Oh, where did you see the picture?
Yeah, here we go. Well, actually, I'll show you the video.
Was it just his bottom lip or
No, it was.
Hands and his feet and.
And Catherine was about to pick me up. So, hopefully that's good. Definitely that's good.
am blessed that I have a sister that's close, and that I'm getting better minute by minute.
It happened Sunday night. He said that he mowed a couple of lawns on Sunday, and then he was going with his sister, and his hands started feeling all itchy. And then he went home, and later that night he said he kept getting more itchy, and his sister told him to take a couple of Benadryl, and that didn't do anything really, so he went to bed and woke up at about 3 o'clock in the morning, and he said his lip felt like it was just going to explode, and his hands were so swollen that he couldn't open a doorknob. His throat was okay, and so he ended up, he woke up at 3 o'clock, he was in the ER by 3:30, and he spent the night there last night. So keep him in your prayers. He's getting better moment by moment. They still don't know what was wrong or what happened. They don't know if it was something that he ate or something that he touched or something from mowing the yard, or somebody he kissed, there you go, or some fish he kissed, there you go. So yeah, keep him in your prayers. Some of the comments, him and I were laughing about it when I talked to him last night on the phone. Somebody gave him a new nickname. It's no longer Tom Cat, it's Tom Kardashian. So there's that. All right, any other new listings? Yeah.
1220 Locker Line Loop.
Okay.
Almost 1,900 square feet, a full 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 2-story, traditional home, traditional neighborhood, price at $239,500.
Great.
$15 under the average for this.
Nice.
Master is up. There is a bedroom down.
Okay. All right. Any other new listings? Yeah.
I didn't understand the name of that street.
What street was it on?
Lock-a-line.
Lock-a-line.
L-O-C-H.
L-O-C-H-A-L-I-N-E.
There you go. Gail.
Mine is not new, it's been on the market, but it has been under construction.
Okay.
And it's going to be finished this week, by the weekend. And
Awesome.
it's in Twin Creek Farms in Wahlberg. And it's 4 bedrooms, 3 full baths on 3 acres. And it's beautiful. And it's just under 3,100 square feet, and you can have 2 horses on this particular lot. And
All right.
it's listed at $545.
Good. Anyone else? Yeah.
So we have one coming up on 135 Melissa. It's age restricted. It's across the street from one that had just sold last year. And it's 260, it's 1,800 supposed, somewhere around there square feet. It'll be freshly painted, and it has hardwood floors, and it's got a really, really nice covered patio, and it's got a nice backyard.
All right. Anyone else? Yeah.
I got one coming up in Del Valley, 190, 1,400 square feet, but it is gonna be a short sale.
Okay.
So I'll give them like market
Oh, wow, that's the first short sale I've heard about.
In Del Valley?
Del Valley.
Okay.
Del Valley short sale. They only been in it for about 1.5 years, but it's got it's gonna need some foundation leveling. So
Okay.
with that, they're upside down because of, you know.
Got it.
the other market.
All right. Anyone else?
Lisa's.
Yeah.
These aren't my listings, but I was showing some properties in Kitty Crossing. We were talking about the prices dropping.
Yeah.
There was one there on Kitty Crossing Street, Drive, whatever, that has been totally redone. All new appliances, everything, kitchen, everything for $205. They just
Wow.
dropped it from $210 or $215. And my client likes it, but she's just not ready to. It'll go, but just in case you have people looking at that price point. Nice house.
Good. Anyone else?
We
Do
have
you-
a lease.
Okay, go ahead.
Listing, it's $1,600 a month, and we accept pets. It's a 3-2. It's off Williams on Garden View, so Georgetown High School. So will they take 6-month lease or 8-month lease? 6 month is the minimum. 6 months. Okay. And
There you
what's the
go.
address? I don't know. I don't remember the exact Okay. address. Ask Kathy. Yeah.
Okay. Buyer needs.
Did we do price adjustments already?
Okay. Price adjustments.
Which is my listing that we have on tour this morning, 329 Cedar Lake, in Woodlake, we went down from 325 to 315. It's a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 3260 square feet with an in-ground pool. Thank you to everybody that went on the tour, but I need to get that house sold. 315 it went down. And it's got the painting and the flooring done, so it shows much better than what it did 3 months ago.
Good. All right. Buyer needs? Yeah.
I have a buyer that's looking in the Georgetown area, maybe as far out as Gerald. I have a pre-qualification letter. It's gonna be VA. They're qualified for 230, but they're really trying to keep it low. So if you have anything, we've looked at Georgetown, so if you have anything Gerald area that's down around like 200.
Okay. All right.
Georgetown. She wants Georgetown, but there's nothing decent. They don't want any work.
Okay.
You know, that's why
What about
We'll play the buyer video next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many of you guys have seen those memes from where they're making fun of HGTV that says my husband is a stay-at-home astronaut and I do watercoloring or something like that. Our budget $3.2 million. Yeah, I love those things. All right, any other buyer needs? Great, awesome. Who's our sponsor today? All right, well, while we're waiting for our sponsor to come in, what's the one thing we learned today?
Market's changing.
The market's changing, absolutely. And as was it you that said you don't want to get throw up on you? Yeah, exactly. We want to be here so we don't have throw up all over us. We want to be in the front of the market. So we don't want to be chasing it to the bottom because there's not going to be a bottom this time. It's not going to be that crazy. We just need to make sure that we're pricing appropriately so that we're somewhere in here between perception and reality. We want to make people understand where the market really is, and having those conversations and getting better with one of the #1 things you can use right now, the bold listing presentation. If you get really, really good at that, it has all those questions which are going to help you to price it appropriately to where they're going to need to be.
Where is that posted?
It's in the bold book, and it should also be on the listing presentation, I believe, is available on KW Connect. Under, if you just go into KW Connect, type in your login, and just type in listing presentation, it should be there. Hey, thanks, Lauren. Come on in. How are y'all?
Good. How are y'all doing?
Good. Let's give it up for D.R. Horton.
Richard Carry On. Nice to meet you.
Scott Toller. Nice to meet you as well.
Hey, Caesar. How are you doing? It's been a month of Sunday since I've seen you.
No, my old partner when I used to sell with D.R. Horton.
Yeah.
Nice.
2005 and 6.
Yeah.
We sold the heck out of Boehner, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. So, do we start?
Yeah, take it away.
Great. Oh, do you business cards?
I'm gonna
We
come
have a
around
We have 2
and
dogs,
give
actually.
me your business cards. So I'll start in the back.
Yeah.
So we just pass this around? Thanks for having us.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for being here.
Georgetown. No, a brand new community.
Tell us.
All right, so my name's Richard Carry On. I'm with D.R. Horton. As Caesar said, I've been with the company a long time. So, but what I'm here for is to tell you about a new community called Fairhaven. It's in Georgetown. Has anyone heard of Fairhaven?
Mm-hmm.
It's right past West Haven. You may know where West Haven is, but we're a mile past West Haven, right down the street from, literally right a mile down the street. So, but long story short, we're going to have over 731 homes in Terra Vista. We've started, we're building 5 homes a week. We've started 5 homes a week, and we're probably have close to 100 under construction. So the short time that we've been there, we've sold like, I think 17 in a couple of months. So far so good. The best thing about it is our price point, we're in the 220s. We go up to the upper or lower 300s with a 3-car garage option, 4 sides masonry. One of the things that we are offering in our communities is the home is connected. Are you guys familiar with that? With the Alexa, the doorbell with the camera, push button deadbolt.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff that we offer. So you need to come out and see us, check us out. I think it's a great opportunity for all of us to work together and make some money. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have gas?
We do have gas. Yep.
Only after Taco Bell. Just kidding.
Yeah.
What is the name of the
bear
Yeah.
and then fair.
Out 29?
If you go, just go down Westinghouse from I-35, go east, and just, you're gonna go over A.W. Grimes, keep going, and you'll see us. Another thing, we're four sides masonry, so that's huge. Four sides masonry, irrigation front and back, fully landscaped granite, stainless steel, gutters, huge amenity center that's already, it's almost complete, so.
Elementary school?
They're actually building a school right across the street from our community. Thanks for plugging that in.
How about tax rate?
Tax rate's 2.8. Yep.
Oh.
Is it a mud?
It is in a municipality, and that's part of the 2.8.
Okay.
Yep.
I drive past it every day.
Do
to
you
take my
really need
daughter
to stop
school.
by? Yeah,
so-
she goes, Gateway? Yeah, okay, we're right next door to Gateway, so good. Yeah. Anything else?
You said there's gas, is it propane system, or is
No,
it?
gas. Natural gas, yeah.
Okay.
That's a good question. That was easy. I'll hand it over to Dimitri.
We are in Liberty Hill. So,
Yay!
We have some fans already.
Jennifer already sold one with us.
Yes. And Kim lives out there, and I
Yep.
know quite a few of you probably are excited that we're out there. So for the first time ever, or for a while anyway, D.R. Horton's actually in an express community, which was Liberty Park. So we've taken over the remainder of the community. We have about 153 home sites that are currently developed right now. We start in the 2 teens. We're electric. I'll put that elephant in the room right now because it sounds like everybody's liking the gas, but the electric's been popping. We haven't had any people frustrated with that because we're like literally in the heart of Liberty Hill. So we are going to be that community on that side that's just down from the junior high, just down from the high school, on the same side of the street, so easy for them to get to school. Our taxes are 2.61, but we do have a PID, so the PID's in addition to that, but at least it doesn't fluctuate with their tax assessed value, so it's kind of a nice, alternative to a MUD. We start, as I mentioned, in the 2 teens with everything already included. So we have stainless steel appliances, granite countertops, a lot of really great things, sprinkler system front and back, adorable houses, and we have over 50 already under construction. So we came in with a bang, just like we usually do. And currently this week, we have 6% realtor commission too, so if you know anybody. And this is Kelly.
Yes. Hi, Kelly Gibbs.
She's my partner in crime. She's out there with us. So we're there 7 days a week. Between the two of us, literally, we are there 7 days a week. So come on out and visit. Our model is adorable. It's so cute. And it's a very boutique style community, only about probably 700 at the most when we're finished. We're developing the last 2 phases. Pool and park's already in. So we'd love to see you guys out there.
Oh, and then Home is Connect, that's something that we, every D.R. Horton home will have included. So you get an Amazon Dot, Echo, a Skybolt door camera, the deadbolt lock, the Z-Wave light switch. So all of that is included in every home now. It's all integrative, so you can be sitting in your house and say, Alexa, turn off my porch lights. Alexa, turn down my air. Alexa, lock my front door. And then when you're not at home, you can do it all from alarm.com app on their phone, and unlock the door for the nanny. You name it, you can do it. So that's in every single D.R. Horton home now, which is really, really cool.
Even
It's a
at the
huge
lower
value.
price points,
Yeah.
it is.
So even in our community, in the low 200s, upwards to the high 200s. So, yeah.
Any
questions? I might have missed this.
Yes, ma'am.
Fairhaven, is it a MUD?
It is. Tax rate's 2.8.
Is there a pool? Park?
There's a pool. It's full of water. It's ready to go. Ready to go. Yeah, it's
the price point at Fairhaven?
Start from 220. That's going to be a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and we go up to, right now our highest price point I think is 280, and that's going to be our declaration. That should be the last one on the price list, and 2-car garage. They're loaded. They're gorgeous, kind of like you guys. Are you familiar with the laminate? Vinyl flooring planks that looks like wood. That will have that type of flooring pretty much throughout the entire home, with the exception of the bedrooms, staircasing, and the upstairs. But it's a great product. I think you really appreciate it. Your clients will, I know. So, anything else? Yes, ma'am.
May I ask about Taylor? You all have 350 homes coming up over there.
And Taylor? Oh, tell us about it.
Yeah. Sometimes you find out before
Yeah.
we do.
When it would be on, like, you know, be ready, they've been working on it all this year.
Oh, well, that's news to us. They keep
Yes,
secrets
we can
to us.
find out for you.
Yes, we can certainly find out.
I'll grab your card and then, I'll send you some info on it.
That's great.
Sure.
Send it to all of us.
Yes.
Okay.
I'd like to know about it too.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so any other questions or we'll draw?
Did we, everyone turn in the card?
Got everybody? All right.
Okay, I promise I'm not looking. So Crystal Washington and Travis
I think those are my checks.
Those are his checks.
I'll take that. You know, what happened? Did you leave them out there? You must
I
have
saw
left them out
$50
there.
on it. So I was like, oh,
Yay.
you brought them like that?
I was like, when did
"Did I
you
say
ever do
that?"
that? Okay, one more,
Sorry,
one
I'm
more.
stealing your money.
I'm
all
sure
good.
he has it. I think he just left it over there. Caesar. Yay.
There you go.
Yay. We're getting back.
All right. Any other questions for them?
Liberty Hill Chamber event coming up too. We're gonna do the margaritas, we're going to, Jerry stopped by our mom.
All right, y'all have a wonderful day. Enjoy lunch.